Thank you. Next question.
Hi there, Prime Minister. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Wyatt.
I'm going to switch gears for a moment here. The pro-Palestinian protests across the country have been prompting quite a bit of discussion, I think it's fair to say. You have some members of your caucus, like Anthony Housefather, who said he's both thinking about and reflecting on his future within the party. But then at the other end of that, you also have a very large many members, who are openly calling for a ceasefire. So I guess how do you as Prime Minister kind of balance such a polarizing issue, not just within your caucus, but within the country?
Well, I think you struck it exactly right. These are really difficult times and really difficult moments right across the country where people have feelings of anger, feelings of grief, feelings of fear and concern, and very difficult conversations happening in communities across the country. I think it's sort of important that our political parties can actually be a reflection of the kinds of conversations going on in communities across the country. And it is a very good thing that we have both significant number of Jewish MPs and a significant number of Muslim MPs in our political party, because that allows us to have conversations that are the reflection of the kinds of conversations going on out there across the country. It is an incredibly difficult time. People are filled with senses of grief, of powerlessness, of anger, of frustration, and of course, people are allowed to, and we will always defend their rights to go out and express themselves and share their concerns and their anguish with their fellow citizens. It's an important right that all Canadians have. And we're going to continue to make sure we're having those conversations in a way that eventually brings people back together. Because in all this, sometimes we're forgetting a little bit that our neighbors are also our fellow Canadians. And someone on the other side of the perspective is also hurting and grieving, and being able to pull people together and try and find solutions, not just for Canada, but for the world, is what this party and indeed this country is all about.
And then just kind of following up on that, obviously there were protests in Toronto over the weekend where there were a number of arrests made. Despite policing obviously being a provincial jurisdiction, a lot of people still turning to you for your perspective. I guess what steps will your government take, perhaps working with the provinces, to both balance the obligations of law enforcement with Canadians' rights to peacefully assemble and free speech?
Well, first of all, it is a fundamental right that people are able to protest freely in this country. It is really, really important in our democracy and in democracies around the world that people have that ability to mobilize, go out and express their concerns for policies here at home or things happening overseas. That's something that this government will always defend. And that protest needs to be done peacefully in a way that doesn't endanger other people's lives. We expect police to both obey the laws and enforce the laws. And that's something that I think is necessary. Just waving a Palestinian flag is not in itself something that is unacceptable or anti-Semitic. People are allowed to express their concerns on every side of the event. It's when you start making people feel unsafe in their neighborhoods, in their schools, in their communities, that we fall into things where police do need to lean in and make sure that everyone is safe and feels safe. But that is a balance that is ongoing every single day by police forces across the country. And as a federal government, we expect people to obey the law. We expect the police to obey the law, but we also expect the police to enforce the law.